The security camera footage from that McDonald's would later be classified by the FBI. Because what happened that night prevented the biggest terrorist attack in small-town history. And the person who did it was someone no one expected. A 42-year-old father of 3, fast food manager Mike Henderson. While listening to this story, tell me which city you're watching from in the comments. And if you believe stories like this of real heroism deserve to be heard, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Every week we share stories of heroes emerging from places you'd never expect. Fairfield, Nebraska, population 8,500, sits right in the heart of America. It's the kind of place where everyone knows everyone. The biggest event is the annual Corn Festival, and the McDonald's is where teenagers hang out. Mike Henderson has been managing this location for 15 years, and he's become as much a part of this town as the old courthouse clock. Mike arrives at work every morning at 6:30, greets his staff, and prepares for the day ahead. At 42, he's average height with thinning hair, just an ordinary guy. A father of 3 who attends his kids' school meetings, spends weekends working in his garden, and chats with neighbors over the fence. The townspeople love him because he's reliable, kind, and always ready to help. But there's a chapter in Mike Henderson's past that the townspeople couldn't even imagine. From 2003 to 2015, he served in the United States Army as an explosive ordnance disposal specialist. Mike completed 5 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, neutralizing hundreds of bombs and improvised explosive devices. His military file shows a Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and other commendations. But Mike never talks about any of it. He keeps his medals in a box in his basement and avoids discussing his past. He wants those memories to stay separate from his normal life. In Fairfield, he just wants to be a father, husband, and McDonald's manager. Mike has small scars on his arms and neck. When curious customers or employees ask about them, he says, "Old motorcycle accident," and changes the subject. In reality, those scars are shrapnel wounds from a bomb blast in Kandahar. But no one knows this, and Mike never tells. March 15th, 2024. Friday night, 11:47 p.m. Mike is counting the register during the final hours of the night shift, preparing for the next day. Only 2 employees are working, 19-year-old cashier Emma and 22-year-old kitchen worker Jake. The drive-thru is closed. They're only serving walk-in customers. Customer traffic is usually light at this hour. A few night security guards, late-shift factory workers, and occasionally some drunk college kids. Mike is used to this routine and typically has a relaxed shift. At 11:47 p.m., 3 men enter through the front door. At first glance, they look like normal customers, mid-20s to early 30s, casual clothing, nothing distinctive. But Mike's trained eyes immediately pick up several details. First, all 3 entered together but aren't looking at each other. That's not natural for people moving as a group. Second, the man in the middle is constantly scanning the environment, identifying camera locations. Third, the man on the right has a rectangular bulge under his jacket. Mike knows that shape all too well. Mike's pulse quickens, but his face shows no change. 12 years of field experience taught him to stay calm under stress. He knows he needs to be careful for Emma and Jake's safety. "Welcome to McDonald's," Mike says with a smile. "How can I help you?" All 3 men pretend to look at the menu, but Mike notices their eyes are actually studying the restaurant's layout. They're noting emergency exits, cameras, number of staff. Mike's experience in Afghanistan tells him this behavior is dangerous. The man in the middle, who appears more dominant than the others, starts speaking. "We'll take 3 large meals." His voice is calm, but his eyes are cold. Mike has seen this type of look before, the calm before planned violence. While taking the order, Mike signals to Emma. Emma doesn't understand the signal, but she senses Mike is serious. Jake continues working in the kitchen, unaware of the situation. While the order is being prepared, the 3 men begin walking around the restaurant. One goes to the restroom, another to the napkin station, the third waits by the register. Mike realizes this is coordinated movement. Additionally, he notices a strange smell coming from the bag of the man who went to the restroom, a chemical odor. Mike recognizes this smell, ammonium nitrate. At this moment, Mike fully understands the gravity of the situation. These three men are likely preparing explosives, and the McDonald's is among their targets, maybe part of a larger attack, maybe a local terrorist act. But either way, Emma and Jake's lives are in danger. Hundreds of scenarios race through Mike's mind. He doesn't have time to call police because the men are being careful, and if they suspect anything, they might immediately execute their plan. Evacuating the employees is also too risky. If the men notice, they might panic. Mike makes a decision. He'll use his years of experience as a bomb disposal expert. He's learned that sometimes you need to neutralize not just explosives, but people too. The man returning from the restroom sets his bag down next to the register. Mike suspects there's likely a prepared explosive inside. He approaches the register with carefully planned steps. "Your order is ready," Mike says in his normal voice, but simultaneously he gives Emma a coded instruction. "Emma, could you go to the back office and check the phone numbers? The emergency list is on the shelf." Emma doesn't understand this strange request, but she hears Mike's serious tone and heads to the back. Mike has successfully moved Emma to a safe area. As the middleman approaches the register, Mike notices the wireless device attached to his belt. This is probably a remote detonator. Now Mike knows for certain, these men are suicide bombers. "Thank you," the man says, taking the order, but his eyes show he hasn't decided to act yet. Maybe the timing isn't right. Maybe they have other targets. Mike wants to turn this hesitation into an opportunity. "Must be tough eating at this hour," Mike says, starting a conversation. "Are you working night shift?" The man looks suspicious. "Yeah, at the factory." Mike knows it's a lie because the man's hands aren't factory worker hands. They're soft and stained with chemicals. But he continues talking to buy time. Meanwhile, Jake comes out of the kitchen and begins to notice the situation. He sees that the three customers are acting strangely, that Mike is being unusually careful. Jake is young but smart. He senses danger. Mike signals to Jake too, and he also retreats toward the back. Now Mike is alone with the three men. 11:54 p.m. The man starts opening his bag. Mike sees the device inside: digital clock, wires, plastic explosives, professional work, more sophisticated than the bombs Mike saw in Iraq. Mike approaches while holding his breath. For 12 years, he's experienced moments like this, when one move could determine the difference between life and death. "Hamburgers at this hour?" Mike continues talking. "I always prefer pizza myself." The man looks at him, slightly annoyed. "I'm in a hurry." "Sure, I understand," Mike says, but simultaneously he carefully steps closer to the men. Years of bomb disposal experience taught him to approach with patience. As the middleman reaches for the detonator, Mike makes his final move. He quickly lunges forward and grabs the man's wrist, taking the detonator from his hand. At the same time, he turns toward the other man and destabilizes him. The third man is surprised and tries to run, but Mike catches him too. The reflexes and close combat techniques he developed over 12 years allow him to neutralize all three men. "Emma, Jake, call 911, Mike shouts. "We need police and the bomb squad." The next few minutes are chaotic. Police and FBI agents surround the restaurant. The bomb squad examines the bag and confirms it really contains explosives. The three men are arrested. The investigation results are shocking. These three men were part of a coordinated attack targeting the town's school, hospital, and city hall. The McDonald's was the final point in their plan, from where they would trigger the other targets. Mike Henderson's intervention saved not just his own restaurant, but the entire town from a major disaster. During the FBI investigation, Mike's past is revealed. The media picks up the story. Ordinary fast food manager prevents terrorist attack with secret bomb expert background. Mike declines interview requests. "I just did my job," he says. "I had to protect my employees." But for the townspeople, Mike is no longer just the McDonald's manager. He's the hidden hero living among them. Kids at school look up to him. Customers thank him. Emma and Jake never forget that night. They tell everyone how Mike protected them, how calm and brave he was. "It was like he was used to dealing with situations like that," Emma says. Mike's wife, Sarah, learns about her husband's heroism while watching the news at home. When Mike comes home, she hugs him and asks, "How could you stay so calm?" Mike doesn't answer, just hugs his children. Because that night, he protected the town where his own children live. His past experience was finally used in a meaningful way. A few weeks later, life returns to normal. Mike still arrives at work at 6:30 every morning, makes hamburgers, counts the register. But now customers look at him differently. Especially the young employees know he's not just an ordinary fast food manager. One day, Jake asks Mike, "How did you know they were dangerous that night?" Mike thinks, then answers, "People think they can hide their intentions, but body language always tells the truth. I just learned to listen." "Did you learn that in the Army?" Mike nods in confirmation. "Yes, I learned it there. But I left those days behind. Now I just make hamburgers." Jake smiles. "You're our hero who makes the best hamburgers." Mike smiles too. Maybe he can never completely leave his past behind, but now this experience is being used to protect those he loves, and that gives him peace. A small plaque is hung on the McDonald's wall in memory of that night. Courage comes from unexpected places. Mike allows the plaque to be hung but prevents his name from being written on it, because real heroes don't act to be recognized, but to do what's right. And Mike Henderson is an extraordinary hero continuing to live his ordinary life in Fairfield. The classified security camera footage still sits in FBI archives. It shows how a fast food manager thwarted a national security threat. But for Mike, the most important record is that his children can sleep safely. And every night, as Fairfield residents sleep unaware of the silent protector living among them, Mike Henderson reads bedtime stories to his children. The wars from his past are over, but his guardianship continues. Because real soldiers never truly retire, they just change their protection assignments.